Welcome to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. This is Dr. Deb Butler, Master Life and Weight Coach, and as always, your coach. Today is episode number 164. I want to talk to you about menopause, and I want to help you change your thinking about it. Stay tuned. Hello, all my dear friends. How are you today? Many of you know that I finished a class called The Science of the Mind and Body, where we really worked a lot with anti-inflammatory foods. We worked a lot with our minds, why in the heck we eat when we're not hungry, how to handle our emotions, how to feel our emotions instead of eating our emotions. You know, all the things that you listened on the podcast, only they directly get coached by me. And I have to tell you, that's pretty fascinating and pretty eye-opening for all of us. But this is one of the things that I noticed, and I might have talked to you about this before, is that I would say all of the women basically who were in this class were really pretty angry at their bodies due to menopause and the symptoms of menopause. And of course, probably maybe one of the reasons that you listen to this podcast, and I would say the major reason why all of these women joined this class is because of weight gain. And weight gain is one of the many things that can happen during menopause. But I will tell you what, of all the symptoms that happen in menopause, I think the symptom that gets the most amount of attention from you is weight gain. And that's when you decide something needs to be done. So I'm more than honored to be able to help you with that. But I want you to realize, and what I spoke to these women about, is that weight gain is really not the problem. It's just a symptom of the way that you probably have been treating yourself for years. But this is the thing with the body. There is less room for mistreating yourself. And I think that's the truth of menopause, is you just can't keep treating yourself badly and expecting good results. So for instance, most of the women in my class actually have always had a weight struggle. Most of the women that I work with have always had a weight struggle. And when they get through menopause, their struggle becomes even more because the tricks that they've learned through the years don't work anymore. And what I have found and what I want to teach you is that maybe that's a good thing, because like, how many tricks do you need to have to keep losing weight? What if menopause became the time where you decided once and for all, you learned what your natural weight was, and then you learned how to listen to your body to stay with it? Because your body is always talking to you. You believe that when I tell you that, don't you? Your body is always talking to you, and it's either whispering or it's screaming. That's the only difference. I've been talking to you over these 59 episodes. I've been talking to you about how to pay attention to the whispers, the whisper of being tired, the whisper of pain, and the whisper of hunger. Now, most of my clients, most of my students, and maybe you too, have not been paying attention to the whispers throughout most of your life. And so therefore, when menopause comes in, those whispers get much stronger because they must get your attention. I think those whispers that get louder during menopause are necessary to get your attention. So for instance, I have a lot of women complaining about this and that about menopause. In fact, I had one woman in my class who had written on the forum that she had just gotten some surgery done thanks to menopause. She wasn't very happy about it, and she wasn't very happy about having to get surgery, and she was blaming it all on menopause. And I'm not saying I think surgery is good, and I'm not saying that there aren't some effects from menopause that aren't pleasant. But what I said to her and what I want to ask you is what's good about it? Because here's the deal. You're all going to go through it. There is no one, no woman on this earth that's not going to go through it. Some are going to have bigger screams. Some are going to have more whispers, but you're all going to go through it. So if we're all going to go through it, And it's a transition in life, in our bodies. And I don't believe it's just in our bodies. I believe it's a transition that happens in our minds too. And Christiane Northrup, wonderful medical doctor, she's written so many wonderful books about menopause and aging. And one of the things that she says is this wonderful time to also rewire your brain. What a concept. You've heard me talk about rewiring your brain a lot, right? Menopause is such a great opportunity to be able to look at what you've been doing, how you've been automatically reacting to things in your life, and decide to do things differently. You know what I start with? I start with eating, right? Because you're the most bothered by food because you're the most bothered by the weight gain. So we start by connecting. What does our hunger really feel like? What does fullness really feel like? And you know, I talk to you a lot about the hunger scale going from a -10 to being starving to a +10 being full. I recommend that you start eating at a -2, which is what I call a whisper, and a +2, which is a whisper of fullness. And I will tell you what, when you start really connecting to that, there's so much more energy that you have in a day because you're not being bogged down by too much food. If menopause is this time where you go, I don't like this weight gain and I want to do something about it once and for all. Now, if you just want to go on a regular diet again and just go through the whole spiel all over again, be my guest. This podcast is not going to be for you. But if you're like me and you decided during menopause that I just am mad as heck and I'm not going to take it anymore, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not going back to Weight Watchers. I'm not going back on a diet. I want to learn how to be connected and stop yo-yoing and being miserable about my weight, which is, of course, what I did because I became a life coach. I got coached. I got a weight coach, and I learned all the concepts that I'm talking to you about now. So, menopause is a time to pause, not to complain, not to be miserable, not to think that your whole life is over. It's a time to pause and ask yourself, what is working for you and what isn't working for you? And I will tell you what, I think menopause can then turn into menopositivity. I made up that word. I think it's unbelievably fantastic because now that I'm on the other side of menopause, and as I'm bringing more and more women through menopause and losing weight for the first time without dieting, one of the things that they always say to me about their coaching experience, and I'm not really trying to brag, but what I am saying is what they say to me, you know what? This has changed my life, not just my weight. This has changed my life, which means that going through this transition of menopause was actually the best thing that ever happened to them because they learned once and for all how to connect to their body emotionally and physically. And when you are connected to your body emotionally and physically, your life becomes more aligned to what you really, really want and desire, and your body becomes aligned to what its natural weight is because it's natural, right? That's the big thing. And I like to talk a lot about the difference between a goal weight and a natural weight, your BMI, all that kind of stuff. I could be healthier if I was at the weight I was supposed to be. What is that weight? Well, I will tell you what, everybody's got their own idea of what that weight is. It could be the day I got married, when I had my wedding dress on and I weighed, for instance, for me, and I weighed 130 pounds for one day. And I'll tell you what, for a long time, I was trying to get back to that weight. And you know what? It was impossible because what I did to get there, I was bulimic. I was crazy. I couldn't do that weight without being really sick in the head and in the body. But as I got older, past my 50s, and I started being introduced to this concept of a natural weight, I really started understanding what it meant. And what a natural weight means is what feels right to you. And I will tell you what, when you get there, you know it without a number. And it was amazing when it happened to me because it was higher than I thought it would be, right? Because I'm always trying to get lower no matter what. My whole life, whatever the number was, it was always too low. So I could never hold it. Now, I am at a weight that feels good. And I also know that if that weight goes up without getting on a scale, it just doesn't feel as good, right? That's the difference. A natural weight feels right inside of you. You're connected and it feels right. Just like when you eat food that feels right in your body. It's the natural food for you. It's the natural weight for you. How do you know? Because it feels right to you. Same thing with a decision. How do you know a decision is right for you? Because somebody told you? That's the way it was maybe before your 50s, is you did what everybody else told you to do or what you thought they wanted you to do. The beauty of this transition of menopause, if you do it right and you honor this transition, is you learn what feels right for you. You learn to feel your emotions and you learn to feel your physical body. And that truly is a miracle that you can experience once and for all in your life and forget this whole struggle. And so that's why I say menopause was the best time of my life. Not because it felt good all the time, but because it pushed me in the direction to do what was right for my life and to do what was right for my body. And I wrote this post on Facebook called Menopositivity. And I want to read it to you because I really like it. And I think it really makes sense. So this is what I said about Menopositivity. And this is another book. You can't use it. It's mine. Okay, this is what I said. I work with a lot of women who are angry at their bodies as they go through menopause. One of the things I always ask them is, what might be good about it? What's the positive side of this most natural transition that all women go through? I think menopause is a time to pause and reflect. What's working in your life? What's working in your body? And what needs your time and attention? If you take the time to pause and reflect, it is possible that you could be happier with your body and your life. This is what happened for me, and I see the same thing for my clients and students too. If you've been through menopause, and I'm really asking you this as I'm reading it, if you're listening to this and you've been through menopause, I want you to write me and tell me how you have seen this as a positive transition. Now, for me, what this meant is I finally stayed at my natural weight. I haven't been on a diet in so many years, I forgot how to do it. Yay! I stopped dieting totally. I changed careers. You're listening to me. This is not what I did 15 years ago. I was a chiropractor. I only worked on bodies. I talked to people a lot, but I wasn't a coach. And also, and most important, I learned how to honor my feelings. And so I call this the most natural transition in my life and the best. And it's menopositivity. And this is what I want to invite you to start thinking about. How can this transition be the best thing that ever happened to you, even if you're going through some negative symptoms to get there? Can you see that your life and your body is just calling you to attend to it? And if you do, I promise you that you too can experience menopositivity. Pause and experience menopositivity. So here's what I invite you to do. Number one, if you haven't looked up all the tools that I use in my podcast, I would love to invite you. You know, you can get all the tools that I use, the hunger scale, the emotional hunger scale, the joy worksheet, the wasteful worksheet, all the things that I use to help you connect into your body and your soul. And by your soul, I mean your emotions. And it's my companion book, and you can get it by going to drdebbutler.com/change, and all the tools are there. And I've got so many podcasts now that go with these. I can't tell you how life-changing it's been for so many people. So go do that. Also, I would love for you, if you've been listening to these podcasts and you really have been getting a lot out of them, then the best thing that I would love, if you wanted to do something for me, is for you to review it honestly on iTunes, because it is the way that more people get to find it. And there's nothing more for me than to get letters and to hear how life-changing these podcasts have been without ever meeting me, how far-reaching my words and my voice can become. So if you really love this, and there are a lot of you listening to this, and my reviews are not reflecting how many people are downloading this. So if you're one of those people who have not reviewed this, please go to drdebbutler.com/iTunes and review it. Okay? So listen, until next week, I want you to enjoy your menopause transition into Menopositivity. And of course, I want you to be very, very kind to yourself. Bye-bye.
To get a free copy of Dr. Deb's companion workbook with all the tools, homeworks, and discussions that she uses in her podcast with all of her private clients, please go to drdebbutler.com/change. This will make it even easier to follow along with her in future broadcasts.